Morning, America. How we doing today? And get down there just a little bit. Oh, mercy. It's a nice morning. It's muggy and there's not much of a breeze. There's a little bit of humidity in the air today. They're talking about rain, which means no rain. I guess it's raining up there in eastern Oklahoma right now, and the weather people on the radio, they're talking about rain coming down. You know, well, maybe there's some out west, west of Fort Worth, quite a ways out there south of Wichita Falls, out in that area, and that's going to peter out, I guess, just the way it looks. But there's some up in eastern Oklahoma, and the weather people are talking about, well, the stuff out west of Texas, that's not going to come this way. But west of Fort Worth anyway. Not West Texas, but you get the idea. Anyway, they said that won't come here. Even if it does, it'll peter out before it gets here. But apparently they're looking at the weather, you know, the air currents and everything. And they're hoping, I mean, you know, it's just, the weather guys are so bored right now. They have nothing to talk about except hot weather, you know. So hey, there's rain up in Maine. Maybe it'll come this way. And it's just, you know, just something so they can put it on the radio, you know. But yeah, but there's some up in Oklahoma, and they're thinking it could possibly push down into North Texas. Ain't gonna happen. And if it does, it'll be later on, 5, 6 o'clock tonight they're talking about. It ain't gonna happen. And see, because I'm being pessimistic about it, it might rain. Oh yeah, it's gonna rain. It won't. Nah, it ain't gonna rain. It will. Whatever you say the weather's gonna do, it'll do the exact opposite. Weather is very contrary. No matter what you say it's gonna do, I'll teach you. We'll do the exact opposite. Yeah. How y'all doing this morning? Morning, America. How we doing? Let's see, who's first today? Hey, I was first today. Sasnak turned on subscribers mode only. I'm first. Yay! Ooh, yeah. Don't do that again. Told you, I've been sweating out here. It's hot. It's not hot. It's muggy. And when I get in the bus and there's not hardly, usually if there's a breeze coming through here, it goes up through the bus, you know, with the windows open and stuff. But the windows are, you know, covered up now for some of them, and then got one window open here and these up here, there's 3. Got everything in, all the windows are in. Well, I'll take that back. I still got 2 more to go, 2 more to put in, glue in, the inserts on. It's this one and this one on the other side. Still got to put those in. I glued 3 of them in this morning. I glued 1, 2, and 3 on the other side. I glued them in this morning when I first got out here, and by noon, those ought to be dry enough. I can pop the braces off of there, glue the other 2, put them in, and wait till tomorrow, and everything should be done tomorrow morning. All the windows will be completely in and done. That's it, I guess. Y'all be good. Check y'all later. Oh, the cows are out grazing. Let's turn you around and see the cows. The cows are out there grazing. It's cool, so they're out there, you know, eating what they can. And then when it gets hot, they come up underneath the tree and lay down and chew their cud all afternoon. And they're eating what they can out there. Kind of slim pickings. That's got quite a few cows on there for no rain and everything. He's got, I think, 10 head out there, and that's a little too many. But they're keeping everything mowed down pretty good. So, and the funny thing is, there's a big patch of green right over there, and there's a big patch of green right over there, and they ain't touching it. Apparently, it's the wrong flavor. They don't like the taste of it or something. So, I don't know. Oh, so anyway, cows are grazing. So let's read some comments, see where everybody's from. Okay, really? Okay, my thing was first. But anyway, Eric's first. Hot and morning, a little bit of both. Good morning or hot morning? A little bit of both. Yeah, it's not hot. It's actually pretty nice right now. It's about 75, 78 degrees, somewhere along in there. It's not bad right now. And I've got, sitting right here, I got a bit of a breeze. And it looks like it's picking up a little bit compared to what about an hour ago. But I got up in the bus and there was no breeze at all coming through. I know, get a fan. I know I've got a fan somewhere, but you know, I just come in, I go in there and work a little bit and I come back out and do something out here and go right back in, and you know, that kind of thing. And so anyway, got in there and did the windows and all that kind of stuff. What was it? I was going somewhere with some thought. I don't remember what I was doing now. I like this gruffiness. Oh, I got news. I got news. The 22nd. That's when I go to work. 22nd. August 22nd. Big good news and bad news with it. Good news, I'm going to work on the 22nd. Bad news, I'm not going to be doing what I thought I was going to do because that tour fell through. So he put me on a different tour, and I'm not happy about it, but you roll with the punches kind of thing, I think. So originally, back a month or so ago, about a month ago, I was up in Salt Lake City, and the guy's name is Pat. Pat called me and said, "Hey, got a, you know, this tour, you know, all these different tours." And they talk a little different than trucking, okay? In trucking, you have a customer, and you have a shipper and a receiver, you know, and you have a load, or you have a run. You know, those are the phrases that you use in trucking. You know, I'm going over this customer picking up with the shipper, or I'm going over to the shipper to pick up this customer, and I'm going to take this run down to whatever and deliver it, you know, at the receiver. That's the kind of sentence you would make in trucking. This is not trucking, so to say. It's transportation, but it's not trucking. And they use different words. Instead of a customer, they have clients, okay? And instead of having a run, they have a tour, okay? Kind of think of a tour kind of like a musical tour, you know, rock and roll band tour, you know. They have these tours that they do these tours for clients, okay? Anyway, so they got this client and called them up and said, "Hey, we want to do such and such and such." Okay. Well, they first called up and said they wanted 5 trucks, 5 pickups and goosenecks and all these different tractors they were going to haul around to these farm shows. And I think they threw a bid out at them or something. I don't know. And the price is too high. I don't know. I'm assuming some of this. But anyway, for whatever reason, they go, let's knock it down to 3 trucks. So they knocked it down to 3 trucks, and they're going to have 1 go to Canada and 2 stay here in America. And I was going to drive one of those here in America, you know, drive in the United States. I'm sorry, if I say America, people in South America, oh, we're part of America too, you know, in the United States. Anyway, so here in the States, I was going to run around and do this tour. And when he first offered the load or offered the tour, he said it'd start in mid-August and go to mid-December. I'm thinking, okay, great. That's 4 months. That's great. That's a good long run, and it pays really well and all this kind of stuff. So, hey, okay. Well, last Monday, a week ago, well, was it last Monday? Yeah, a week ago yesterday. So 8 days ago, I called him up. I hadn't heard from him for a week or so. I called him up and said, "Hey, what's the scoop? You know, any information on that run and all that? You know, on that run, on that tour?" And he says, "Yeah, they've changed it up. They're going to do 1 truck. And you got your passport?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a passport." He goes, "Good. Okay, so you can go to Canada." I'm like, "No, I can't go to Canada. I don't have the vaccine. You know, the vaccine card and all this." And he goes, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, I guess we can't put you on that." Well, what do you mean? He says, "Well, they changed it up. Instead of 5 trucks, they dropped to 3 trucks. Now they've dropped to 1 truck, and that 1 truck is going to do all the tours, and in states and in Canada. Oh, and you have to be able to go to Canada to be on that tour." Okay, well, you got somebody for it? No, we're still looking for somebody. This is last week. He says, yeah, we're still looking for somebody. I don't know. We'll find somebody eventually. But I says, all right, well, hey, I'm up for, if you can't find anybody, put me on it for the first couple months until Canada comes around. That buys you a couple months to find somebody. And then when it gets time to go to Canada, we'll swing by the shop, drop the truck off, put the other driver in it, and I'll go back home or whatever. At least it gives me a couple months on this tour, And he goes, okay, well, I'll keep that in mind, but more than likely we'll find somebody. Okay, all right. He says, I do have this other tour and everything, and the way he described it to me, I thought he said November. I'm like, man, that's a long ways out. I don't want to commit to anything all the way in November, And it was just a short 2-week deal. Well, anyway, called him Thursday, I think. I called him Thursday and asked him, well, you got any, did you get anything? And he goes, no, still don't have anybody on that run there, but we still got that one going to Arizona and California. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's like in November. He goes, no, that's later here in about 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay. He says, yeah, it's gonna be at the end of October or end of August and the first few days of September. Okay, something like that, about 2 weeks long. He says, you'll pick up a truck here in Wisconsin and take it down to Phoenix and do a display there, open the displays up and everything for a day or 2 or 3 or something like that. And then from there, you take off and go to California. And he didn't say what town. Found out yesterday. His wife / secretary called and wanted to know if, do you want to get your airplane ticket, or you want me to buy the airplane ticket? I'm like, airplane ticket? What are you talking about? So I called her. She sent me a text message. So I called him back yesterday afternoon, talked to him, and talked to both of them. And I says, could I just drive my van up there instead of going through the airport crap and everything? I said, I'll just drive my van up there if you buy the gas. He goes, yeah, well, we can do that. You can drive up there and get a hotel or whatever. I'm thinking, I got the van. I'll just sleep in the van. I say, oh, okay. So with that, they want me up there on the 22nd, so I'll probably leave around the 20th. It's 1,000 miles to Milwaukee, so I'll probably leave midday on the 20th and drive up there on the 20th and 21st. That way on the 22nd, which is Monday, if I remember right. I think that's Monday. Yeah, 22nd is Monday. So I'll drive up on Saturday and Sunday, be there for Monday morning. During the day, Monday, they'll teach me what is expected, how to set the display up and how this works and how that works and whatnot. Okay. And then I'm going to leave there with another driver. He's going to drive a motorhome that's been converted into a showroom. It's going to be like a Class A motorhome that they've gutted and turned into a display. Okay, there's no bed, no kitchen, none of that stuff in there. So anyway, he's going to drive that because he doesn't have a CDL, so he can't drive he can drive the RV, but he can't drive the other stuff. So I'm going to drive the truck. And at first I thought he said it was going to be a pickup. Well, then they found out it's going to need a larger truck than a pickup. So they're in the process of finding a truck right now. It'll be a larger than a dually pickup, but it'll be probably smaller than a semi. I don't know, so probably mid-size class 7 truck, probably something like that. So anyway, gonna haul that down to Phoenix, do a display there for a few days, and then from there drive to Long Beach, California, and set up the display there. And then after it's over, tear the display down and take the trailer somewhere there in Long Beach. They're going to store it there in Long Beach. I guess the customer bought this trailer and they want to keep it there, is where they're at, I guess. I don't know. I don't know much more about it than that. And then I just bobtail the truck all the way back to Wisconsin. So that's it. It's just a short 2-week deal. 14, 15 days, probably, something like that. And then after that, I'll be in Wisconsin in cooler weather up there, because right now it's already pretty nice weather in Wisconsin. I might go camping for a few days or something. Just maybe go find some place to, just dilly-dally, work my way back home, and figure out where the weather's going to be, and go the other way. Wherever it's hot, go the other direction, you know. But anyway, then come back home, and then after that, just kind of, I don't know, maybe jump back in my truck and go back to Choice for another month or something. I don't know. At that point, come back and then continue working on the bus through the rest of the fall and winter until December. So that's kind of the penciled in what we got going on. I was real disappointed that other run fell through in a way. And they said, well, you know, you can still go on it if you go get the vaccine. And we even talked about the you know, getting a fake. I brought it up. Get a fake vaccine card. And he's got drivers that go up there, and he says, no, the problem with that is Canada actually checks the numbers, you know, through their databases and stuff. They actually check. If you get a fake vaccine card and you're going to a restaurant in New York City, the maitre d' doesn't check. You know, it's just, hey, you got a card? Yeah, here it is right here. Okay, thank you. You can go sit over in that table, you know. But when you're going across borders and stuff, you know, that's something you don't want to tinker with. So anyway, so much for that idea. I mean, I just thought, yeah, I can go get a fake card. I'm not going to get the shot, you know. And he was all for it. He says, I don't blame you. I wouldn't get the shot either. You know, they don't have it. So you know, there's so many people that don't want that stupid shot, you know. And so anyway, and like I said, if it was something else, I could just maybe just hold my nose for a couple weeks and like, I don't want to do this, but you know, I'll you know, as far as the vaccine, if it was something that was, you know, I could just hold my nose and go, okay, just to do the job or whatever, that's one thing. But a vaccine is permanent. You know, it's even more permanent than a tattoo. A tattoo you can get removed. You have scars, but you know you can get the tattoo removed or inked over or whatever. A vaccine, once it's in you, it's in you. You know, and there's so much talk about that you know it's the way, I don't know if I ought to get into that or not, but apparently the way it works, the way I've understood some of this stuff is the vaccine. And I don't know which one it is, you know, which company, which pharmaceutical company. There's different vaccines, you know. They, from what I understand, there's a chemical in one of them or all of them. I don't know. But when you shoot you in you, it basically kills your immune system. It just wipes your immune system out. And then the other drugs in there build it back up for the virus. I have a problem with that because if that's true, I don't know if it is or not, but if that's true, you're killing a perfectly good immune system for all these other things, you know, for just the common cold or whatever. You're killing all that, and so it just seems to me that you might be setting yourself up for a lifetime of constantly being sick because your immune system has been compromised. To me, it's not worth it. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. To me, it's just not worth that risk, you know, because I don't trust them. I think they're lying to us about all this shit, you know. I think they're lying to us about the virus. I think that where it came from, who released it, who accidentally released it or purposely released it. I can't help but think it was planned. They purposely let it out to kill a bunch of people in, you know, the population. I just don't trust them. I just don't, you know. The way I look at this government nowadays, I look at them as the Nazis in the concentration camps. If you were a Jew, if you knowing what you know now, would you trust the Nazis in World War II? Would you trust them? I wouldn't, you know. So I just don't trust our government when it comes to this kind of stuff. I just, you know, there's too many ulterior motives. You know what I mean? You know, just corruption. People are just, I don't. So anyway, got off on that. I'm sorry. So anyway, the big long 4-month tour is a no-go now. I talked to him yesterday and they've got a driver for it. So I don't get that at all. And I was really disappointed in that because it paid really well and it was going to be a good long run. And I mean, I was going to put a good chunk of change in the bank, you know. So that is disappointing. But anyway, I do this 2-week deal and it's kind of a, well, you know, if I say yes to the, hey, that one really, it pays really good, and yeah, and I'll do that one, but yeah, this one don't pay worth a shit. You know, it pays, but not as good. But well, that one's no good. I don't want to do that and pick and choose and being a prima donna with, you know. So do some of the crappy ones too. You know, crappy is the wrong word, I guess, but you know, the lesser runs. Do some of those, you know, so you don't, you know, well. I'm not going to hire him because he won't do the dirty work. You know, he only wants the gravy runs. You know. And it gets me in their system to find out for 2 weeks whether, you know, it's going to be what I want to do or not. You know, do it for a couple weeks and go, hey, that was pretty good, or God, that was a nightmare. Can you imagine doing that for 4 months? You know, I don't know. We'll see. So anyway. For a couple weeks, leaving on the 20th to head up to Milwaukee area, somewhere in Milwaukee is where the trailer and everything's at. And I'm going to go up there and on Monday do like an orientation day, and then on Tuesday leave out and head to Phoenix. And that guy in the RV, I guess, is going to follow me or something. I don't know. I play that by ear. I know where I'm going. If he's never drove before, hasn't really traveled around the country. He's not a truck driver. He doesn't have a CDL. So I'm going to guess he probably hasn't traveled much, doesn't know, you know, a lot of the routes, and he probably just want to follow along with me, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they want us to stay together. I don't know. But so I don't know all this kind of stuff. I'll find all that stuff out when I get to Milwaukee. They say you have to take this particular route. You need to stop at this truck stop, that truck stop, you know, get gas or whatever. Or it's just, you're here, be there on such and such day, you know, however you want to get there. I don't know. I mean, different companies are different. Some trucking companies are very babysitting, you know, to their drivers. You know, you stop, you run this exact route, you stop at this truck stop and buy exactly this many gallons of fuel and all this kind of stuff. That way they can control their fuel expenses and stuff. Other companies are like, I don't care how you get there, just get there, you know. Okay. So we'll find all that out as we work for them. All right, let me read some of the comments. Man, there's quite a few. Wow. Okay. Ernie was the very first one. Linda again. Emma, good morning. Kim, good morning. Kai, good morning. Justin, Bam Bam, Falcon View. There we go. Yeah, bunch of letters in number 28. Tammy, Loretta, Karen. Good morning, everyone. Have a great day. No star. Don't forget to smash the like button. There you go. How we doing here? 179 people, only 103 likes. Come on. So anyway, good day, everyone from Ohio. Northeastern Kentucky, that's Kai. Good morning, Sag. Good morning. Everybody's good morning. Phil is live at Fuel Stop now, still has truck issues, but he said you could call him when he's driving. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll do that here in just a second. I'll give him a call here real quick, you know, see what he's up to. Good morning, Sandy, Utah. Joplin, Missouri, Ohio. That's what I do. Notification says fly. Good morning. Looking toward school bus trips. Yep. It's 83 here in Fort Worth. It's about 80, 79, 80 right now. It looks like. It's got a glare on the plastic here. It might be right at 80, I think, right here. Am I going to do live streams on the new job? Yep. Don't know how much I'll disclose. I'll play that. I'll figure that out as we go. I'll probably do a live stream as I'm driving up there, you know, in the van. for a little while, you know, a little half hour here and half hour there, something, I don't know. I don't think you want to sit there and watch me drive for 10 hours, but anyway, good morning from Fort Chilwell. Yeah, okay, Rapid City, South Dakota. Heat wave, feels buffer is a major buffer at the moment. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Okay. All right. All right. Let me go show you what I've done here. There's, whoop, turn you around. There's the bus. Got all the windows in. On this side, it's completely done. Okay. All right. On the other side, I put the emergency window in here. Okay. It's mounted and done. Still got to put a little clamp on here so it'll lock in. The reason I put this one in here is I think I'm going to test that air conditioner unit and stick it in this one. See how it just lifts up? And that will become an awning over the air conditioner. So I can mount a board in here somehow, put an air conditioner in there and somehow prop that up and I'll test it. If it doesn't work, if it's that air conditioner, that window unit air conditioner is not enough, I will take that one out and put a regular window back in, okay? These are the only two that haven't been done yet. These three, 1, 2, and 3 are drying right now, okay? So, run around inside, show you how I've got them braced in there. I got to brace them long enough for the glue to somewhat set. All right. So here's the boards. I got them braced against that little lip there. That lip is where the seats sat on. Where the seats they had legs out here on the in the aisle. You can see where they're right there's one, right there's one, right there's one. That's where the seats bolted to the floor. Seats came over and it's about bolted to that little lip. That's how school buses are built, okay? So I just wedged those in there, made them the right length, put a board behind there and put a lot of pressure, you know, push down on that, put a lot of pressure on that to hold that nice and tight while the glue sets. When the glue is set after probably about noon, I will pull that out and I'll glue these last two in. There's the two skins and two insulations. I'll glue them in, put these braces over here, and then let that set overnight. Tomorrow I'll come back, take these braces out, and all the windows will be completely done. All right? All right, put some of this trim in. You know, I took this trim out to paint it, and I painted the wrong side of it. So next time I get the gun out and paint it, whatever, I'll take those back down. And I painted this one on the right side, and I got a big run in it. The run's upside down because I painted it was hanging the other way. But this one I painted on the other side. And this piece right here and this little trim right here I took out and I was going to paint them. But I've got to paint this whole thing here, but I don't want to spray it because it'll be too hard to tape it all off. I think I'm just going to brush paint that around the window. You know, this A-pillar here and over there, and then the door itself. What I'm going to do with the door? Somebody asked me about the door. All right, somebody asked me about the door. The door is a, what do you call it? Turn you around here. The door is an accordion style hinge, okay? All right. Well, if you look at this hinge over here, it can swing all the way out to about right here. If it swings the other way. So what I'm going to do is take this little wheel off here, and some of this, I'm going to take some of this apparatus off, you know, what it hangs on. Down here at the bottom, I'm going to take that little that thing there off. There's a wheel underneath there, a caster wheel and a track up here. Take all those off, and then this will swing out this way, okay? And what I'll do is on the back side here, I'll put a piece of iron, a metal, get some metal and put on there, and turn it into a solid door that swings outward like this, okay? And then right in this area right here, I can put a deadbolt type system in here that goes over and cut a hole in here and somehow fix this up, okay? What that does, it also makes the door much bigger. See, right now, the door's only about 20 inches wide. It hinges over here, it's like 28 inches wide, 26 or something like that, I don't remember. But for like bringing furniture in and out, it'd be a lot bigger, you know, so I can swing this door the other way. And I'll put a chain, or just like a screen door, you know, chain, a limiting chain so it can't swing all the way around, hit the mirror, and all that kind of stuff. So, what we're gonna do on the roof up here, I'll walk you around over here. This is what they call super strut, okay? Out here on the table. I brought it out here because we're gonna paint it, okay? It's just bare aluminum, or bare metal. It's like a galvanized metal. I'm gonna have to wipe it down. It feels like there's a little bit of oil or something on it. So I'm gonna wipe it down with mineral spirits, clean that all off, and then I'm gonna paint them white so they all, you know, it all just blends in up there. And let me see, what am I gonna do here? Here we go. Use these. All right, let me go get it. I'll be right back. I don't have enough hands. Oh no, let me shorten you up. All right, I don't know how I'm gonna mount this. I don't have enough hands. That's crooked as hell. This board, that board right there is just crooked as can be. All right, I'm gonna spin you around here. I'm actually gonna get up on the roof. The lap sealant looks like it's sealed really well. Good deal. All right. What we're gonna have here is those U channels. Oh, it's killing my knees. What we got is, aim you down here a little bit. All right, those U channels that are sitting outside. Okay, this is much bigger. This is not what I'm using. I'm just trying to use this as an example. There's a curvature of the roof. So if I put the solar panels on right here, you see over here it drops away. Well, if I put these too far out, it'll touch in the center. So I need to find a place. They're about 2 inches tall. One over here and one over here. Find that distance for the U channel, for that super strut, to where the solar panels don't touch, or maybe a quarter of an inch or a half inch above the skin. And that's where I'll bolt those super struts. They'll run long ways along here, pretty much the whole length of the bus, okay? And once I get those all bolted in, I'll be able to put the solar panels on and put them on there, and they only touch the super strut mounting points and not touch anywhere else, okay? So that's kind of the idea of it. And then because that super strut, the way it's built, you put these special bolts in here and you can clamp things down. It's the same system I used on the van and on pretty much all the silver van that I took to Alaska, the gray van that I have now, and the cargo trailer. They all had that same super strut system, okay? So anyway, that's what's going on here. That's what I'm gonna do today. And the way I'm gonna do that, let's get on downstairs. I tell you, I hate heights. Let's just toss that down so I don't have to mess with it no more. So I think you guys, hopefully I understand, I explained that good enough. But so anyway, that super strut's going to go from the front. They're 10-foot sections, and this is a 34-foot bust, nose to tail. So 10, 20, 30 foot, they'll bring it up to one of these seams. What I've got here is these bolts. What I'm going to do is drill this is a 3/8 inch carriage bolt, okay? So this 3/8 inch carriage bolt is going to go, I'm going to get a bit that's the right size, and they're going to go in between the ribs, okay? Just to show you where. In between these ribs. Now on the outside I can see exactly where to drill. On the inside I can't, it'll pop through somewhere in this area. Probably about this area right here, okay? And I'll do every one that's a major strut. There's a strut here, but I don't think it's as strong. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But anyway, the first one will start about right here. That's about 4 feet back. From here all the way to the back of the bus will be a continuous super strut. This bolt will go through here in this way. It's a carriage bolt, so it's smooth on the inside. It won't be so obvious. Once you paint the head of this thing, it should just kind of blend in with the ceiling, kind of like a large rivet. All right, as you can see on, let me turn you around so I can see what I'm looking at. Right here, you've got rivets here and you've got rivets there, okay? That makes a difference as to how this stuff works, okay? What do I have? What do I have to work? Something to explain this. I'm thinking some kind of piece of cardboard, but I don't have any cardboard, so to say. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just draw it out. How does this work? Put you like this. All right. That right there. All right. All right. So here's the outer skin and here's the inner skin. The way that this is a cross section of the bus. Okay. Those rivets that I pointed out to you. Here's rivets, and then there's rivets. This is the outer skin, it's outside. All right, so outside. On the inside, there's a rivet right there. What that channel does, it comes across here, and it comes down, over, and then back up, and then down. So the rivets go through right here and right here on the outside, and rivets come in the center right here, okay? What I'm gonna do on the outside is I'm gonna drill a hole right through the center of this, hopefully not hit a rivet. I'll probably hit one or two, but anyway. But I'll just drill through that until I get through inside the bus with a large bit, okay? Then this, on the inside, I'll turn around and push it up through this way, okay? So it's, you're actually upside down for you. There we go. So this is the inside, this is the outside, and there's that channel, the channel that is basically the roll cage bars, okay? And that's the outer skin, and this is the inner skin. This is the inner skin that I painted white, okay? So once I drill a hole through there, I'm gonna put this carriage bolt up through, and on the inside of this carriage bolt right in here, I'm gonna put sealant, like an epoxy glue, okay? Now granted, it's a carriage bolt, so it's got that square. As I tighten that up, that square will suck into that round hole and deform the round hole and hopefully hold it good enough. As it holds, I'll also put glue in here, okay? So as it goes in, it'll squish that glue out, but it becomes pretty much permanent, okay? On the outside, I will put a washer, probably 2 or 3 washers. And the reason I put 2 or 3 washers on there, and then I'll put a nut on, okay? And I'll tighten that all down. I'll tighten that all down and let it dry, okay? Once it's dry, I will take this nut back off, and dang wind, there wasn't any wind earlier. All right, then I will take these washers off. On the first washer, I'll put the silicone caulking, waterproofing caulking. I'll put that on there, and then push this washer down. Then these 2 washers will go in there as a spacer to lift that super strut. You want to lift that, here's the skin, and if you put that, here's that skin, and if you put that super strut right there, it kind of makes a water barrier. I'm going to lift that up ever so much just so water can drain out from underneath it, okay? So it won't pool up there, okay? So anyway, look, put a few, 2 or 3 or 4 washers, whatever I think looks right. Then I'll put the super strut in there, okay? And then put the nut on, okay? I'll put it like this, then 1 more washer on the inside, okay? And then a nut. Probably put 2 nuts and double tighten them against, jam nuts. Okay, I know, get the neoprene washer, I know, but I don't know, I got these instead. So anyway, it'll be something similar to that right there, okay? So that gives it enough room underneath for water to drain out so it doesn't pool up on the top of the bus. And it drains through there, but it tightens up. And then after that, you put your solar panels on the top of this super strut. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to work on today, is getting that super strut. Not so much the super strut mounted. I'll get a piece up there and line it up so the holes will line up, and drill holes and get these mounted into the bus. And let the epoxy glue and all that stuff dry. And once that's dry, tomorrow or whatever, I can take all this stuff back off and put my super strut. Well, I won't do that immediately. I'll do that super strut. I won't put that up there until I get home and wash this off. In a couple days, I'm gonna go wash it off, power wash it, then bring it out here and paint it with that Icor roof coating, okay? And then after that, I can paint the super strut white, and I'll mount that up there. So everything will be white up there, and then whenever I get to the panels, I'll be able to mount the panels up there. So right now, I guess today what I'm doing is I'm mounting the mounting bolts. I'm getting the bolts mounted into the ceiling of the bus. I'm getting the bolts mounted into the ceiling of the bus so that, the next step would be mounting the bracket, the super strut there. They call it unistrut, and they call it, that's the brand name. Kind of like Kleenex is not a, it's not a Kleenex. Kleenex is the brand name. It's a facial tissue, okay? You got Kleenex and you got Puffs, or whatever. You get the idea. Super strut, it's all this hanging system, okay, that they use. Electricians and plumbers use it a lot in commercial buildings, okay? If you go to Walmart and look up, the ceiling's all painted white, okay? But you'll see all these big conduit pieces going for electrical boxes and stuff like that, or electrical lines running. The electricity has to be inside of a conduit pipe, okay, for protection. Otherwise, you just have cables hanging from the ceiling. They got code that they have to go by. And this super strut is what they hang that conduit. The conduit's got to get up there somehow. So what they do is they bolt all thread to the rafters and then hang all thread down and then put that super strut in there and they make a cradle, so to say. So super strut goes this way and all thread rod comes down and they tighten it up and they make basically a little U, like a catwalk almost, for that conduit pipes, whether it's electrical or if it's plumbing for like a sprinkler system, things like that. Anyway, that's what they use to hang that stuff from the ceiling. And one of the brand names is Super Strut. One of the other ones is Unistrut. Okay, so people know it by different names. Most people don't know the names of this stuff because it's just metal, and they don't really pay attention to it, unless you're in that field, like electrician or plumbing and stuff like that. Otherwise, you probably don't even know what the stuff is. Some people do. Some people would look at it and say, that's the kind of stuff they use to hang my garage door with. That's another thing they can use it for. So anyway, that's how I've mounted all the other solar systems up, and it's very sturdy. It's very solid. So it's bolted right to the frame of the van. It's bolted right to the frame of the cargo trailer. It's bolted right to the frame of the bus. So if it works before, it'll work on this one here. So that's what Beeline. What's Beeline? I think that's maybe one of the companies that you can buy it from, if I'm not mistaken. Aerodynamic, it's a bus. It's not aerodynamic to begin with, so I'm not worried about aerodynamic. These will be bolted down better than the ones on the van. And the van, I've taken that up to 80, 90 mile an hour. So yeah, aerodynamics, on the van, it hurts the aerodynamics of the van because the van is actually fairly aerodynamic. It's big and bulky, but it's got that real raked windshield and everything. And it's fairly aerodynamic. When I put the solar panels up there, I lost about a mile per gallon fuel mileage because they are less aerodynamic. But when you're talking about a bus that's doing 55 mile an hour, it's a flat nose bus. It's one of the most non-aerodynamic vehicles you can get, So I'm not worried about aerodynamics on a bus. So let's see. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's call Mud Pig. See what he's up to. See where he's at and what he's got to tell us. And I don't have a full charge on my phone, so it won't be a really long phone call. And I gotta find his number here. Can't remember his last name. Got it in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere, because I've called him on this phone. I'm looking, folks. Just got to scroll down through all the names here. Tell me this phone might have. this phone did a you know, save to what do you call it? The iPhones, they save to the internet. I'm not seeing him. Where's he at? And I've talked to him on this phone. I know he's here, but come on now, where's he at? I don't have his name in here no more. It somehow disappeared. I'll go through real nice and slow. I don't see it. I did a search. I typed in PHI, you know, and nothing came up. I bet somehow it got I bet somehow it got deleted. I didn't delete it, but you know, when it does an update, or not, what do you call it? When the phone saves to the cloud, I guess is what it does. I don't see him. Where's he at? I guess we're not calling Phil. It's not under Mudpig and it's not under Phil. Well, damn. Phil, you're gonna have to call me. Somebody got Phil's number? Give Phil a call and have him call me. Huh. Lisa, you got Phil's number. Give him a call, okay? Oh, he's live right now. Yeah, I think, I don't know his last name. I think I put him in as Phil Mudpig. Mudpig being his last name, but it's not in here. I've scrolled through all the way through this looking, and I don't see it anywhere. So I think maybe what happened is when this thing updated, or what do you call it, saved to the cloud, it didn't save right or something, and it was a fairly new number in the list here, and I don't have it in here no more. I don't know what happened to it. And no, I didn't delete it. I got Trucker G. I got him in here. I don't see him. I went up and down through here about 4 times. I got WYSIWYG's number. Huh. I don't know, man. Guess who's calling? Good morning, sir.
Hey, my chat was saying to call you.
Yeah, I was trying to call you, and I don't have your number in my phone no more. Folks, this is Mudpig. I'm live streaming right now, so just let you know.
Yeah, I have as well. That's what I was just saying. My chat was saying to call you. So
You mean I can't?
that was kind of my hint to you that I'm live now as well.
Okay.
I can't bring you on like you do. So
Yeah, so I can't use the seven words that what's his name? What was George Carlin? Yeah, I can't use those 7 words now, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Let's see. What were those 7 words? Let's see. Vaccine, amoxicillin, hydrochloroquine.
Yeah, you said you'd update the list, right?
The seven words you're not allowed to say. There you go. There you go. So what? I hear you've been having trouble with your truck. What's going on?
Oh, well, first was it started up with DCS issues. There was knock sensor was the ultimate problem, but it threw about 6 different codes for SCR catalyst failure, and you name it.
Yep.
So when I first looked at the code list, I'm thinking, hell, I'm going to need a whole new DPS system.
Yep. You know, you need
The
to.
outlet sensor was out of range. It was throwing codes for the whole system.
Yep. Yeah. So a $50 sensor, and you're down for a week. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So $1,300 later, and
Yeah.
several D-rates, you know, we put a new sensor in it, and that's fine. But now I have injectors 1 and 4. One is throwing an actuator failure, and 4 is just throwing an injector test when they actually hook it up to a laptop.
Yeah.
But my one buddy at the Cummins rep, he said that 1 with the actuator being sticky, you could be throwing 4 out. Because on the Cummins, there's only like 3 dosers. Each one runs 2 injectors that paired up.
Right.
And if the one injector is sticking, it'll throw the other one out of whack because it's affecting a certain fuel pressure or something.
Right.
And if it's not getting it because the other one's sticking,
Mm-hmm.
it'll read that even though it's not there. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. You know the answer to this?
Get a pre-emission truck?
Exactly.
I
Go
know.
get a pre-emission truck, and instead of making a $2,000 truck payment, you put about $1,200 a month into repairs on it, and you're better off. You know, as much as I like new trucks.
It's a win-win. I mean, I already
Yep.
have my truck listed for sale, you know?
Yep. Yep.
I tell my chat it's a win-win. I get a cool-looking older truck, a more reliable truck.
Yep.
I'll probably have some cash left over by the time I sell this. And,
Right.
you know,
Hey, I know a guy's got a truck for sale. It's a white truck with a white truck with blue stripes.
what's he want for?
120.
Yeah, it's yours.
Yeah, it's for sale though if you want it. I mean, I haven't advertised it or nothing like that, but if somebody walked up today with 120, I'd sign the title over to them.
I can't swing that. I need something less expensive than my current truck.
Yeah, there you go. Well, good luck with that. The prices of truck are through the roof right now.
Well, actually, older pre-emission trucks, I think people are scared of them. I've seen some really nice trucks in the 20s and 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, right here in Tennessee, where I'm running out of. The one's right up the road, the other one's over by Nashville.
I'll be darned. Huh. You better grab it up then. Because I don't know, the prices of...
International 9900, the other one's the Freightliner Classic. The International's got the Signature 600 Cummins in it.
Too big.
And the Freightliner's got a 12.7 Detroit.
Yeah, that 600 is too big and you get terrible fuel mileage with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 600, it's a 16 liter. It's just too big. Yeah. Those are good for heavy haul and stuff like that, but just for running like what you and I do, you won't get the fuel mileage out of it. So it's just...
I don't know much about it other than,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
other than that I talked to, like I said, my buddy's the Cummins rep, and he said that the pre-emission Cummins 600, people really like that motor because, you know, it was the ISX before they added all the crap, and he
Right.
said it was one of the better motors Cummins made.
I love the ISX. I hate what the government made them do to it. You know,
Yep.
I was just a little bit ago I was talking about the government here on my live stream, and you know, just what the government's been doing lately. I'm pretty dissatisfied with them. So
Yeah, and we were talking about that earlier too when I was talking about selling my truck. They're like, wouldn't you get better fuel efficiency in the new truck? I'm like, well, no, the old trucks get the same as mine do. So they're not choked off and gasping for air, you know?
yeah. Hey, look at the money you have to put into DEF fluid. Okay, you know that fuel mileage. You gotta, you know, even if the older truck doesn't get as good a fuel mileage, the DEF that you have to add in, that's more expense. You got to add that to the cost per mile of running that thing down the road. Okay, and that $1,300 repair bill, that's a tank of fuel right there. That's a tank of fuel. You know that.
And an older truck don't even have those.
Right.
Injectors as well. I mean, I can buy 2 injectors for an older truck for the price of 1 for a new truck.
Yep. And you know the new trucks are nice. They you know, you get in, the doors close and sound real solid, and they don't leak air. You know, you're driving down the road, they're quiet, they're smooth riding, and you know there's nice things about these new trucks. It's just take that emissions crap off there, and I'd buy a new truck. But I don't want anything. I've had 2 trucks that had the emissions crap, and I hated them. You know, I loved the trucks. I hated the emissions crap. I had nothing but trouble with
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I love the way his drives, but every time you look at a shop, it's $1,000. You never get out for less than that. You know?
Yep, exactly. And you know, and the price, the rates, the shop rates now are up there at $170, $180 an hour. You know, I think some of them are even hitting 200 at different places on the East Coast and stuff. You know, that's $170 an hour shop rate, and they work on it for 4 hours. You know, there's $600-700 right there. Boom, just in the rate. You know, not counting any parts you buy.
The fact you gotta wait 2 weeks to get into the shop.
Exactly. Yep. Get a truck that you don't have to go to the shop with.
You could take it to Billy Bob out there in his one-man shop, if he can work with a 12.7, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you can probably get it in the same day, you know.
Yep, and the parts on a 12.7 on a Detroit, a 12.7 Detroit are much cheaper. They're very readily available because it's not that old of a motor. It's not like an old KTA, you know, KTA or something like that. You know, the old industrial motors they used to put in trucks. But yeah, it's just what's his name? Gray Wolf. He's having mechanical problems. I talked to him yesterday. He's having mechanical problems in that RV that's following him.
Yeah,
The motor.
He's been up a rod, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else is in it.
Well, the RV, it's old. It's set for 20 years. Just set under a shade tree for 20 years, you know. And the guy that owned it before him, it just sat there. And then Gray Wolf bought it, I don't know how many years ago. He updated all the stuff on the inside, like the water lines and, you know, heater and the pumps and all the different stuff, you know, the internals of the RV. He kind of had that all redone, but the motor had sat there for 20 years, and all that oil, it just got old and gummy and stuff in there. And eventually, when he was driving, you know, when they were driving down the road, of course, they're just idling for the most part, just, you know, walking speed behind him. The rods or the valves got real sticky because of all the gumminess of the fuel, you know. Of course, that's a gasoline engine, you know, but everything got real gummy and sticky, and one of the valves stuck closed or whatever, and it bent a push rod or something. I don't know. Anyway, so he's been trying to get parts, and every time they send him the parts, either they show up and they're the wrong parts, or they just don't show up at all. So he's been sitting there for 2 weeks trying to get that RV fixed. So.
Well, I know he had said at one point they sent him, if it was they sent him the wrong part though, because he gave him the wrong chassis information. I know there was something about that.
Right.
Like the motor and chassis don't match up for some reason.
Well, I think, what year did he say it was? A 67? It's a 67 motorhome. But the chassis is actually a 66. So the chassis was built in 66, and then they ship it to the coach builder, and they built the RV. So the chassis is a 66, therefore the motor is a 66. In 67, they changed that motor. So he called and told him it was a 67. When we showed up,
That's what happened.
the motor had changed between 67 and 66 and 67. The motor had changed. He told him it was 67 because that's what the year of the RV is, but it's actually a 66 motor and chassis. So it's a different motor, slightly different. They updated the motor slightly somehow or another, made it lighter or something like that. But it was enough to.
It's a lot like our truck. You
Right.
Get a 2000 and we'll have a 99 motor. You know?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was partly his doing, and partly
Right.
just not knowing any better.
Yeah. The other thing is that he's so remote out there. He's in Austin, Nevada. It's way out in the middle of nowhere out there, and he's just having a hard time getting UPS and FedEx to deliver. It's like, hey, we've only got one package. It's 400 miles out there in the middle of nowhere. Why don't we just hold on to this thing for a few more days? Maybe we'll get a couple more packages going that way. Yeah, and deliver them all at the same time.
Makes sense, though.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're going out there for one package,
Yeah.
price of fuel nowadays. you
Right.
know.
Yep. So yeah, it has something to do with that. One time they lost it. They shipped it and it got lost. It never did show up. You know. So I guess Summit Racing down in Austin, Texas, is where he's ordering this stuff. Summit Racing, he's ordering all this stuff. Well, then he was in town in Austin, Nevada. He's in town. There's a Napa store or something like that in town. And they said, yeah, if you'd have ordered it from us, we'd have been on the truck the next day. He's like, well, shit. He says, yeah, we could have got that for you. You know, and our truck shows up like every third day out here, you know. He said, oh, hell. if he'd have just known, you know.
Napa, O'Reilly, a lot of them are good for
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah.
They're quick at that if they have them. Like right now, though, the issue of having the projectors is I can't find them local.
Right.
I gotta order them in.
Yep. Yep. I'm having the same problem. I bought that school bus, you know, and I've been converting it over, you know, and I go down to buy something at Home Depot, and yesterday I was over at Tractor Supply. I went to Tractor Supply. I bought these bolts and washers and nuts and everything, and there are plenty of nuts and bolts and everything, but there weren't any washers. Almost all the washers were sold out. I'm like, huh. So I asked the lady, she said, I don't know, hold on. She got on a little radio and she called back in the back, and that truck that had showed up yesterday morning happened to have the washers that I needed. So I got lucky there. But a lot of that stuff, I mean, just the simplest little thing like a washer that you need, they don't have it in stock because of supply chain right now, you know? So.
Yeah, we ran into that on the convoy when I was putting my train ones on.
Yeah.
I went to the hardware store with Bruce. They didn't have brass fittings.
Yep.
The entire brass fitting section was cleaned out. So
Yep.
we had to, walk around and find different components.
Yep.
Start cannibalizing stuff to make what we need because we couldn't just buy the fitting.
Yep. Yep. So, so other than your truck, how you be? Everything's good with you?
Well, pretty good. I mean, I took the last week off from Livestream and just kind of reset everything, formulated plans, and I wasn't in a very good mind space. I don't know. I always say, I don't like to stream negative stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, man, so is myself. So when I'm, upset and angry and don't got nothing good to say, I'm just going to stay quiet,
Right. Yeah, I think one of the last times I talked to you, we did that, what do you call that, everybody's online? The panel? Yeah, we did that about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know not last week, this weekend we didn't have one week or another, at least I never got an invite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I know Lisa said to send you the link and I sent it to you, but you never showed up. So
I don't remember what it was. I think it's one of those things I got to watching TV and kind of forgot about it, and by the time, oh shit, it's 9. No, I've skipped it. So yeah, I don't know. It was something like that. But anyway, not that time when we was talking to you on the panel, but just you and I talking about a month ago or whatever it was. We were just sitting there chewing the fat, just between ourselves. And you said you were had issues back home for like heating and stuff like that, trying to get propane or something. There was something going on back home. You were concerned.
Oh yeah, that was before I was working for a bit. Yeah, I was behind on all my bills. I mean, my gas was shut off and all that back then.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
We're caught up on there.
Good deal.
I was also one of the reasons last week I was in a bad mood because putting that $1,300 into that sensor to get the truck to stop derating, that was my fuel money for the week.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to sit that week. So I just spent the whole week like literally sitting there looking at Richie Brothers that used trucks, like sold trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
And trying to price mine out. And I listed my truck on both Truck Pay for and Richie Brothers, Richie or Richie Book. They have like a Craigslist thing over at Richie Brothers. So that's when I came up with the plan to sell this. That I had found 2 decent used trucks. One's a print line in plastic, one's an International 9900, but if that Cummins is a fuel efficient, I'm pretty sure we're going to go with the International 9900 with the 600 Cummins, and that's going to be a fuel haul.
Yeah, everything I know about those 600s, they're really good for like heavy haul. If you're hauling heavy, bulldozers and stuff like that, they're really good because they got a lot of horsepower. They're really strong motors. But because that,
you get the right guy, he can probably get that up to
800 easy.
if you wanted it.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's just they're not very efficient. Even if you detune them a little bit, they're just not very efficient on fuel compared to a 15 liter or something. So one of the
like the other 16 liters. I've never heard a guy that was happy with the 16 liter. They've
Yeah.
all been kind of thirsty and you have strange problems.
Right. One of the best motors I think out there, in the market today that you can get is the pre-emission ISX, the Cummins ISX. That'd be from about a 99 to a 03. So right in that range.
96 is what my Cummins
96? Okay.
They were an option.
Yeah. Well,
They're making the N14 as a standard, but you could get an upgrade
All right.
96.
Well, you don't want to get them the very first couple of years because they were still working their issues out. So if 96 is the first year you could get them, like I said, about 98, 99 up to about 03. That's when you want, because it doesn't have any emission stuff on it. In 03, from 03 to 07, they were still good because all they had was an EGR valve, and you could get rid of that pretty easy. But once in 08 came along and they started putting the burner under it, I had two of them. I had an 09 and I had a 2015, and both of them I had issues with on the motor. Had no problem with the motor, but the emissions, I was constantly breaking down the stupid emissions crap, you know. And it's just a $50 sensor. It's a $50 sensor, but you're in the middle of nowhere out in New Mexico somewhere. Where are you going to get a damn sensor? Oh, the closest one is Albuquerque, which is way up north, or, you know, back in Fort Worth or over in Phoenix, and they got to ship it in, and, you know, just, ugh. I broke down in El Paso one time, and it was a sensor. It was just a simple sensor. It was over there by the EGR valve. I don't remember what it was. It was a mass airflow sensor or something like that. And it was like a $30 sensor. I mean, one of the cheaper sensors, but the truck just derated. So I limped it into Kenworth under my own power, but I limped it in there. And the guy says, man, we're so backed up, you know, I won't be able to get to you till, you know, the second Thursday of next week, you know, kind of thing. And I'm like, well, shoot, you know. And he says, I'll tell you what, I didn't do this for you. I'm like, what's that? He goes over and finds an old sensor that they'd taken off another truck. He says, we'll put that in there and see if it works. Oh, okay. So we pulled it out. It was just one bolt, pulled it out, popped the sensor out, put the new sensor in, plugged it in. Hey, it run. I drove, and I kept the old sensor. I just about threw it away, and I thought, well, I'll just, you know, keep it. What the hell? And I drove down the road, got maybe an hour down the road. I was up in New Mexico, past Las Cruces, and the thing derated again. Doggone it. So I pulled off at an off ramp or a rest area somewhere up there, pulled off, and I took the old sensor out because what he'd showed me was that sensor was all clogged up. So I took my original sensor and I took a wire brush, like a little toothbrush, but it's one of those little brass wire brushes, you know, and a toothpick, not a toothpick, like a dental instrument where the pick that the dentist uses, that little curvy looking, you know, wire pick, you know. And I sit there and I picked all the soot out and cleaned it all up, and I put it back in there, and it ran fine for weeks. And I thought, well, that's what it was. It was just that sensor got a lot of soot on it, and it couldn't register the airflow going across it. So the next time I stopped, later that week, I think it was, I stopped, I think it was in Phoenix, and I bought a brand new one of those sensors, and I kept it in a box. So if it ever went bad again, I'd put this brand new sensor on. And that same sensor lasted for another 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. And it derated one day, and I just pulled the old sensor out, put the brand new sensor out in it, and I never had any more trouble. But it's one of those sensors, I guess, apparently you ought to take out about every 6 months and clean it up a little bit, you know. But they just get a lot of soot on them. Yeah.
Where it's just something gets carboned up and you clean it up and you're good.
Yeah, but why even have that sensor on there? What I'm getting, a 4 1/4 cat, a mechanical motor, an old 4 1/4 cat, didn't have that sensor on there. Why? It didn't need it. Why? Because it didn't have all this emissions bullshit on it, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, diesels don't care about their air-fuel mixture.
Yeah.
Diesels are weird in that way. They're not like a gas where, you know, you need a specific air-fuel mixture for it to work. A diesel will run at any elevation. It might not run ideally.
Yeah.
But it'll run without these altitude sensors and airflow sensors and all this crap that they think it needs, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm one of those that you go getting these new cars. Okay, how old are you, Phil?
37.
You're just young. Back when I was a kid, like for instance, my very first vehicle was a '73 Ford pickup, 73 Ford F-150. Okay, the first vehicle I ever owned, and it had roll-up windows. It was an XLT. It was a nice one, but it had roll-up windows. Okay, it had a carpet, you know, a bench seat. When it got dark, you reached over and you got that knob. You pulled the knob out, and the headlights came on. Okay, if it started.
Being switched on the floor, or was it happening?
It was on the floor. It was still on the floor on that model. And it was hard to change your headlights when you had the clutch pushed in. So you got, but when it started raining, there was another knob on the dash. You turned that knob and the windshield wipers came on, you know. Nowadays, oh no, we have to have this $400 system to turn your headlights on automatically and turn the high beams on automatically. We got to have this $2,000 system for the automatic rain sensor. So when it starts raining, the windshield wipers will automatically come on. It's just, now, do you understand why cars cost $50 and $60 and $80,000 nowadays? It's because of all the 47-way adjustable air seats. You know, why do you need to adjust the...
Everything was hardwired. You wanted windshield wipers, all you literally turned that knob and it just put 12 volts in the wiper motor.
Yeah.
There was no computer, there was no electronic switching.
So why do they...
One of the issues we have nowadays is cam control modules in trucks burn.
Yeah.
And then the truck acts like it's, you know, freaking haunted or something. You know, you'll put your turn signal on and the other turn signal will come on. You know, you have all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine, okay, when did Tesla first come out with their cars? What's the oldest Tesla on the road now? Probably about 5-6 years ago, something like that?
I have no idea.
Of course, they had the Roadster 10 years ago.
It's been a bit, but not too long.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at, there's no 20-year-old Teslas out there. Okay. I mean, I think the very first Teslas they ever came out with was probably about 10 years ago. That was that Roadster, and there weren't very many of those sold. But all the Teslas that are coming out now, I mean, they're putting a lot of them out there right now, right? But they're all brand new, therefore they all work perfectly. Can you imagine a 20-year-old Tesla that's been in Milwaukee all its life, or in Detroit?
I mean,
Can you imagine that Tesla? How many electronic problems?
About a week ago,
Yeah.
I said a used Tesla is going to be the equivalent of a used golf cart.
Yeah.
A used golf cart's not going to be worth nothing because you know if it's electric, it's going to need two batteries. You know, so
Yep. Yep.
basically you're buying a rolling chassis, but the batteries in a Tesla is 20 grand.
Yeah, but you put brand new batteries in an old Tesla, all those connectors, all those little sensors, wires, all that stuff is corroded now. You know, can you imagine the trouble they'll have with a 20-year-old Tesla? But I think that's, you know, their planned obsolescence. You know, planned obsolescence, I think is what they call it. You know, it's only going to last. Yeah, it's only going to last about 10 years, and then you just throw it away and, you know, buy new ones. You know, but it just, I don't know. There's a lot to be said for old technology. It worked. You didn't have, but then again, there's a lot to be said about new technology. A fuel injector is a hell of a lot nicer than carburetors. Carburetors were a pain in the butt, and points, and, you know, all that. You know, your distributor cap.
Mazda B2200 pickup, the little Mazda.
Yep.
That thing's still running.
Yep, I had one of those too.
30 years old.
I actually had two of those. I had a silver one when I was in the Army, and right after I got out of the Army, I traded that one in on a red one, a little red B2000. You know, so yep.
Those things were tanks. I mean, you can do anything to them, and you just keep going. You know.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that TV show Top Gear? Yeah, British. It's a British show called Top Gear. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, with the crazy guys.
Yeah.
Crazy
Yeah, Jeremy and Richard and all that. Yeah, James May and all that. Anyway, so they one day they you know, they'd always heard that this the Toyota Hilux was such an indestructible truck. They tried to tear it up. They dropped it off of buildings. They threw it out in the ocean and submerged it in seawater, and it kept running. And it's just they couldn't kill this thing. You know, you take a brand new Ford, Chevy, Dodge, you know, Mazda, whatever kind of pickup you want nowadays. You take a brand new one of those and try to do that shit to it, and it wouldn't last. First speed bump it hits and fall apart, you know. But yeah,
I hate to say it, but I mean, you think of those Toyotas out there in the desert. I'm sure you catch my drift to where we're going here. There's a reason they use Toyotas out there.
Oh, there I'm back. My phone, what do you call it? Froze up on me. Says unable to connect. It's back now. So that only lasts about 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, mine's been coming in and out too, because I just went over Fancy there when I called you. I was heading down the other side of Fancy.
Yeah.
So I'm out here in the sticks a little bit, but it seems like the connection's holding up.
You say what? Fancy Gap?
Yep.
Okay. Y'all know where Fancy Gap's at, folks? Let's see if my people know on the comments if they know where Fancy Gap's at. yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, Heather says she doesn't know. SH says, yeah, sure do. North Star says Tennessee, question mark. Nope, not in Tennessee, North Star. Fancy Gap is, what is that, Interstate 77?
Yep.
Interstate 77 coming out of Virginia into North Carolina. And right.
Split on the 74 and head down to 40 eventually.
Yeah, yeah. But when you're coming out of Whitfield, Virginia, you go south on 77 about 40 or 50, 60 miles, something like that. And you're at the top of the mountain. And as you drop off the mountain, about halfway down the mountain is a state line. And it's a big, long mountain. It's really pretty up there. It's usually cloudy and stuff. You can't see the distance, but on a clear day, man, it's a beautiful, beautiful view. And it's just that 6% grade for, I don't know, what is it, about 6-7 miles probably, something like that.
Yeah, it takes a minute to climb up, but that's for sure. It's a longer grade.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one of the longest on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Nothing compared down west, but
right.
It's a long one for out east here.
Yeah. What's the other one up there in North Carolina, or North Carolina on 40? What's that one? Forget the name of it. Between
the one where it's up and down, up and down, up and down, right?
No. You're up in Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville, North Carolina,
yeah.
And you go east.
Yeah, coming at it. Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember what's it.
Over that one in the convoy.
I know the. Yeah. No, the one you're thinking is down on 26. That's where we came out of Charlotte.
We went through Asheville. I dropped my trailer in it.
Well, yeah, we came up from the south and came into the southern part of Asheville. I'm talking about on I-40.
Right.
On I-40.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of that hill. I know the name of it. I just can't come to mind right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't think of it either right now. But I know the one you're talking. The company I worked for when I was in the convoy was out in Asheville.
Right.
So anytime I went into the yard, we either had to go up that way or try to find another way. And then it's hard when you're trying to hit Asheville because there's only so many ways in.
Yeah. So. I don't know much about Asheville. I used to deliver there, but I came in at midnight and delivered and leave. I was over by Nashville. I did this for a couple of years. Over by Nashville, Tennessee, I'd pick up plastic resin, the company I work for, and we took it over to Asheville, North Carolina, where they made not Formica, Wilson Art kitchen countertops. Yeah, that laminated countertops. Just like Formica countertops, but it was a Wilson Art brand. So I delivered that for a couple of years, and I'd leave at 6 o'clock in the evening, drive over there, deliver at midnight, and I'd be back home around about 6 in the morning. And did that for back and forth there through the gap, the gorge, you know.
Yeah, I run the gorge pretty regularly. I head down to I can't think of the name of that, Buford. I head down to Buford a lot, and I always take the gorge down and come in the side of Atlanta.
Yeah. So folks, this is what truckers talk about when truckers get to talking. This is the kind of by God, back in 29, I was pulling the mountain with my little shiny 290, and I had that sucker wrapped out. Flames are coming out the stack. Trucker stories.
Doing 10 miles an hour up the hill. I got out on the sideboard there, and I was just waving at everyone else, eating my lunch while I was driving up the hill, standing outside the truck.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah. See, I'm getting old enough in trucking that I have these old stories that these new guys like, really? Wow, wow, that's neat. But when I first started, these guys that were driving back in the 40s and 50s, they were still, the really old hands. But by God, first truck I ever drove had solid rubber wheels on it. Couldn't have a flat. It was a chain drive. I'm like, what?
People forget though that the old trucks only had a couple hundred horsepower. And they were climbing these grades we climb nowadays, 40 mile an hour complaining. They were climbing them at 5-10 mile an hour,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the really old trucks, like if you go up to Walcott and go to the museum, a lot of those really old trucks back in the 20s and 30s, those were gas powered. They didn't have diesel motors in them, you know. Diesels didn't come popular until about the 50s, I think, somewhere around in there. Late 40s, early 50s, I think is when diesels became popular in semis. But, because they just had so much more torque.
I'm not sure on that, but yeah, I know there were some old gases running around.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that though. Spring ride truck, sitting there on a seat that's been folded to the floor, no air ride on the seat or nothing. You know, just sitting there getting the crap beat out of you, literally, you know.
Yeah, my first truck was a Kenworth B model. It was a 86 Kenworth B model, and had spring ride. I had an air seat, and I needed it in that truck. These new trucks, you don't even have to have an air ride seat. I lower mine down and sit it on the floor because I just the right height I like to sit at, you know. And but yeah, I don't like the air ride seats in them anymore. I don't need it because the trucks ride smooth enough. You don't need the air ride seat. But that first truck I had, it had spring rides, and it beat the living tar out of you. You know, it was rough riding, and I was so proud of that truck. Your first truck, you're always very proud of your first truck, you know. And but it was a B model. It was a short hood Kenworth, you know, Kenworth W900, but it wasn't an L model. It was the B model, which had the shorter hood. Back in '86, they didn't make the L model. I think it was like '88 or something like that when it came back on the L model, the extended hood. So. I never drove an A model. Always wanted to drive an A model, but never had the opportunity. Drove a 359 Pete a couple of different times here and there. One thing I didn't like about the 359, my legs were too long, and you know, the way the foot pedals and everything, I wasn't very comfortable. It wasn't very ergonomic. It was a good looking truck. It just wasn't ergonomically set for a big guy. So.
Yeah, I actually had an experience driving my first long nose a couple of weeks ago. The company I'm working for now was selling a couple of older trucks at auction. I'd never driven a long nose.
Yeah.
And I'd never driven an 18 speed, but I knew how a 13 worked, and I'm like, well, yeah, just don't split the low side, drive like the 13, and we'll get her there, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an interesting truck. Is that one there? I don't know if all long noses are like this. But the brake pedal was flat on the floor. It wasn't up like in my current truck, where it's more like a car brake pedal where it's standing on end.
Yeah.
This one was flat on the floor, and it took me a long time to get used to having my foot down flat on the brake.
Is it a Kenworth?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the older Kenworths and the W900 Kenworths and the 379 Petes and stuff like that, the brake pedal actually hinges at the heel. Okay, whereas the one you have is like in a car where it hinges up underneath the dashboard and it comes down like a regular brake pedal like in your car. So yeah, they're slightly different, and it takes a little bit getting used to that if you've never driven one.
Yeah, it was throwing me off more the transmission ones, honestly. My truck now is just a standard 10, not a super 10, you know, just a standard 10.
Yeah.
So it took me more getting used to that brake than it did to get used to shifting the 18 speed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I'm going to rear end someone when I get used to the brake and go for it, and there's nothing there. And then you remember, oh, it's flat on the floor. Oh, I got to get down further, you know? Yeah.
Somebody's talking about the old truck. Ray Sorensen, he says the old trucks had 4-foot diameter steering wheels. You know why? They didn't have power steering. They needed that leverage. Yeah. If you ever drove a truck that didn't have power steering, you didn't turn that wheel. When you were sitting still, you didn't turn the wheel. You had to be moving for that wheel to turn. Yeah, it was a bitch, you know. And
I've never experienced that.
I've driven them, but not for long distance and not for a long time. I mean, I just short, you know, for a day or something like that. I've driven the old, you know, a truck with no power steering. But yeah, they got a really big steering wheel because he needed the leverage to be, and that's why the old truck drivers have big, Popeye arms. And, you know, old truck drivers from back in those days, they had a grip because that big old steering wheel and all the leverage. You got to work out driving those things.
Yeah, that's probably like back when I was working on the farm. I mean, hell, I looked like I hit the gym every day from Halo, just throwing hay bales and stuff.
Yep.
Because back then you'd have the fancy stuff you had nowadays. You know, the baler would kick it out to the front of the wagon that
Yep.
wagon full in no time.
Yep.
That was my job as a kid, riding around the wagon while my
Yep.
dad baled the hay. I'd be back there stacking it to the rear.
Yep. Yep.
Spend all day out there chunking hay bales. You know,
Yep.
you'll get some strength quick.
I've put my share of hay bales up. So yeah, did a lot of that when I was a kid. That's the farming work that I did when I was a kid. I did a lot of hay during the summer. Put up a lot of hay, and during the winter I fed a lot of hay. Didn't do much of anything else with the farm. It seems like whenever they were busy harvesting or wheat harvest, I was around for that a little bit. But all the fall crops, I was in school when they were doing all the fall crop stuff. So I just, you know, when they were planting it, it was still springtime. We were still in school. You know, during the summer, you know, we did wheat harvest. But I just didn't do a lot of the farming type stuff. I did more of the cattle, and my grandpa had, you know, farming and cattle both. And I helped him a lot with the cattle, you know.
Yeah,
So.
cattle's fun too. We had neighbors that were in the night, and you know, they'd help us out the tractors, and when it was birthing season, they'd call us up to come help pull calves.
Yeah.
And when I say pull calves, a lot of people don't understand that a lot of times they don't just fall out on their own.
Right. Yeah. Get a rope and a pulley, and I first time I ever saw this was years later. My grandpa never had to do it, or at least I never saw him do it. That's the kind of thing you'd probably do in the middle of the night and stuff. That's why I wasn't around seeing it. But you get a mama cow, and she drops a calf, but then she doesn't want to feed it. Calf comes over to feed, and she walks away and kicks it away. She's not a very good mother. And what you got to do is you tie her head to a post somewhere, and then tie her back leg, and lasso her back leg and tie it to another post, and force her leg open so the calf can come in and feed. You got to basically hold her down so the calf can feed, and then she gets used to it. But a first-time mother, she might not. I don't want you down there. Get away from me. And you got to kind of force them to become motherly. And they do. They take to it soon, pretty quick. There's all kinds of stuff.
The real problem with birthday calf though is the mothers that won't push them out. Sometimes don't even sit on them.
Yeah.
They're just okay, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've done that everywhere. Pulleys, four-wheelers, fence posts, and try to get the mother to walk, you name it,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of work sometimes to get them fried up on out of there, you know?
Yeah, it's usually the first calf too, because, they... So, yeah. Anyway. Speaking of cows...
So yeah, you're done trucking for good now, right? Someone told me you're doing some kind of pickup truck work now or something?
Yeah, I just talked about earlier in the video this morning. I was talking about it. Back when we were on the convoy, about the time I met you, remember when we were up there? I guess I met you before this, but you remember when you took the Stinger off my truck and put it on your truck? We were out there at the casino in California.
Yeah.
Okay, that day after we dropped that, swapped the Stinger over to your truck, I went out and was waiting for the convoy. Everybody was kind of getting ready. And, all right, we're leaving in 10 minutes, kind of thing. And this trucker pulls up in front, and he gets out and he walks over and, hey, I got to meet you and shake your hand and get a sticker and all this kind of stuff. Oh, okay. And didn't talk very long, just hi, how you doing, kind of thing. That was it. And he said, I've been watching you for years and all this stuff. Oh, okay, great. Him and his wife. And okay, all right. And so he took off and left, and that's all. I just met him, and that was it. And at that point, it was just another truck driver wanting to say hi. Well, a couple of weeks later, after I left the convoy, I came back to Arkansas and was running Arkansas to Dallas back and forth. I made a comment in my video that I wanted to, I'm 35 years of trucking. I'm ready to go do something different. I've done enough of this. I want to get out of trucking. Trucking has changed so much. For me, it's not fun anymore. I can make money at it, but it's just, I want to go do something different. I'm getting to the age where I want to go do something different, kind of retire from trucking and go on to the next step. Well, he watches that video and he says, hey, he sent me an email and says, hey, I got a deal for you. Call me and we'll talk it over. But I think I might have a good idea for you. Oh, okay. So I called him and he was telling me about his job, and basically it's a marketing kind of thing where you these big companies, now doesn't have to be huge companies, but large companies, and they want to advertise something, and they'll have tours where they do like advertising stuff. They'll have displays. Like, you ever been to a NASCAR race? Out front, they've got the trucks that they sell all the souvenirs, the hats and the t-shirts and all that crap. But they also have, I remember one of the first times I can remember back is at NASCAR, and Air Force had started sponsoring one of the cars. This is 15 years ago. But Air Force started sponsoring one of the cars, and they had these 3 semi-trailers parked out there, and it was recruiting, for the Air Force. And you go through and it's a semi-trailer, but on the inside it was nothing but displays and, almost like a museum or something. And you go through and, you get in and walk through it, and you get advertisement, and it's a marketing thing, right? So that's what this company does, is that type of stuff, okay? They do stuff for NASCAR, they do stuff for the NFL, they do stuff for, the one that Matt's on is a Range Rover, the car, Range Rover SUVs. It's their next year model, and he's taking it around to all these different dealerships around the country. And he'll pull into a dealership in the morning, unload the car, they'll put it on display for the day. The salesmen come up and they get to look at it to see what next year model is going to be, what it's going to look like, the new lines, the new gizmos and whatever. And it's also a time when customers can come up and see, hey, this is what next year's model is going to look like. Okay, so that's what he's doing. And the one they had about a month ago, they called me and said, hey, we've got a tour if you'd like. It's called New Holland Tractor. Farm tractors. New Holland they were gonna go around to these different farm shows, and they needed a pickup and a gooseneck to haul a tractor around. Well, they started out, they were gonna start with 5 trucks, 5 trailers, and all the different models. And I don't know what happened, but shortly after that, they changed it. No, we're just gonna do 3 trucks, and 2 trucks here in the States, and 1 truck's gonna go do nothing but Alaska, Canada, okay? Well, and that's when he called me. He says, "Will you be interested in that?" I says, "Yeah, I'll do the one of the states, And he goes, "Okay, great." So he put me down. Well, about a week ago, I called him and said, "Hey, what have you learned? You heard anything more about that job?" And he goes, "Well, they've kind of somewhat canceled it." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, they went down to 1 truck, and that 1 truck's going to do everything, United States and Canada. And you have to have your passport." I said, "I have a passport." And he goes, "Oh, I didn't know you had a passport." He says, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, I guess I can put you on that." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, great." And I says, "The only thing I don't have is I don't have the vaccine card. And I think you have to have that to get into Canada, don't you?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, you do." Okay, yeah, you can't be on that one. So that, and last week they took me off of that one, and he mentioned this other tour. It's a real short tour. It's only like 2 weeks long. And I called him yesterday, or he called me, and we got to talking about it. And they want me up in Wisconsin, in the Milwaukee area. I don't know exactly where, but they want me up there on the 22nd, which is like a week and a half from now. It's Monday, a week and a half from now. Anyway, so I'm going to leave on the 20th in my van. I'm going to drive up there on the 20th and 21st and go through their little, orientation thing, teach you how to put the display up and everything on Monday, the 22nd. On the 23rd, we're going to leave. And me and this other driver, I'm going to drive a truck with this trailer on it, and he's going to there was going to be a pickup, a dually pickup, but I think he said the trailer's going to be too big, and they're going to have to use a different kind of truck. It's not a gooseneck. It's going to be a pinnacle hook, pinnacle hook. You know what that is?
Yeah, I think so.
A pinnacle hook's okay. Yeah. On a FedEx or a UPS, wiggle wagon, dual trailers.
Yeah.
The second trailer, that hook, that little, 2 rings locked together, that's a pinnacle hook. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, this trailer has that kind of hook on the front of it. So they got to get a truck that has that kind of a receiver to hook onto. So anyway, so it won't be a dually. It'll be a little bit bigger than a dually, but I don't know. He didn't know what truck it was going to be yet, but they're going to have to get a truck that has a pinnacle hook on it, which is probably going to be a class 7 truck or something, you know, like a small semi, you know.
Like a 650 or something.
Well, no, more like a UPS truck or something, you know, a truck that size, but not a class 8 semi. It might be a class 8, I don't know. But anyway, it's going to be some kind of a larger than a pickup, but probably smaller than a semi. It's something more like a, you know, the class 7 trucks are like your local trucks. You know what I'm talking about?
Like maybe like a FedEx freight truck.
Right.
One that looks like a semi, but it's a straight truck maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, it'll be that kind of a truck pulling this trailer, and then the other guy, he's going to be pulling he's going to be driving an RV. What they've done is, I guess they've taken an RV and they stripped it all down, took all the, you know, the bathroom, the bedroom, and all that stuff, all the furniture out of it, and just made an empty box, and then turned it into a display on the inside. So anyway, so I think that's what I'm gonna do that for 2 weeks. I'm gonna go down to Phoenix, do a show down there, and then go to Long Beach, California, do a show there, and then after that, leave the trailer in Long Beach because the customer that bought it, that's where they're out of, I guess. So after they do the show, then take it over to a warehouse or someplace and drop it off, and then I'll bobtail the RV. The RV and the trailer will stay in Long Beach, and then I'll drive back to Milwaukee. He might ride with me, or he might get a plane. I don't know. We'll figure all that out later as we go. But anyway, it's going to only take about 2 weeks, I guess. So I'll go and get my feet wet, kind of thing, and see what it's like. And then hopefully it works out good, and they'll have another show or another tour somewhere along the line. But I'm kind of wanting to do like a 3-month tour in the spring and maybe a 2-month tour in the fall, and that's it, you know. And semi-retired. I still make some money, but I'm not trucking anymore. And then that frees me up to go live in the RV, that, you know, the bus that I'm building. It frees me up to go travel the country doing that. And then he'll call me up and say, "Hey, we got this tour. Are you interested in this one?" "Yeah, that sounds okay." And I'll head up to Wisconsin, park the bus up there, and get in their truck, go do whatever they do for a month, 2 month, 3 month, whatever the tour is. And then after the tour is over, bring it back to them, drop it off. I'm in the RV and go from there, and take 2 or 3 months off to go travel in the RV. So that's kind of what I got kind of lined up. And if it works out real well, my truck will be for sale. I'll actually, you know, start advertising it and try to actually actively sell the truck. Right now I'm just kind of joking around about it. If someone wants to buy it, there it is, you know. But I'm not advertising it or nothing like that, because I don't want to get rid of the truck until I'm sure this other business, you know, this other job is going to be something I want to do.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, though. I mean, I have a good friend of mine that does concert stuff, and he almost talked me into doing machine gun selling.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you know that stuff's all done on a daily rate. It's not a lot of driving. A lot of it's just sitting there waiting for the show to be over and moving to the next city, you know?
Yeah.
But those are, you know, 3-4 month commitments, you know?
Yeah.
And I had the same issue with that one.
Right.
That they were going up and doing a couple of shows in Canada and then coming back down into the States and doing a show in North Dakota and all places.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Rules stay out, because I can't go to Canada either.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with Canada. Canada has a problem with me because I don't have the vaccine. But I figure eventually they will drop that. You know, probably have to wait till after Trudeau gets out of office. But, you know, eventually Canada will re-elect somebody or elect somebody else that has a little bit of fucking common sense, and they'll get rid of that stipulation, and I'll be able to go to Canada again. And if that's the case, you know, I'll run a tour that goes in wherever. But as of right now, I can't cross the border because they've got, you know, Canada won't let me in, you know. So.
Yeah, that's the same problem with me. That's what I told him. I said, yeah, man, I'd love to run the tour with you, because he has some direct contact. Like, it's not through like Stagecoach or a lot of those. He's a lighting and projection guy. He does all the lighting and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he has a contact where he can get me in direct on the tour.
Right.
But animal, you know?
Yeah. For folks on my live stream, he's talking about Stagecoach. Stagecoach is a company, I think they're out of Phoenix area, somewhere out in Arizona. There's Stagecoach and there's Upstage. There's Upstage is another company. Upstage is one out of Arizona. Upstage is one out of Arizona. Stagecoach, I can't remember where they're out of. But anyway, what they do is whenever there's a concert, Garth Brooks puts on a big concert down in Texas Stadium, okay? The stage has to be built. The lighting systems all have to be brought in and built. It's the trucks that haul that stage equipment from venue to venue to venue. And it's what I'm doing in this pickup is like a baby brother to that. It's the same kind of thing, but it's not the big, huge stadium kind of stuff. This is more of a, like going to, I don't know what this one is in Arizona, but they'll have, I don't even know what the client is. I don't know who they are. But anyway, it's just, you just drive the machinery from point A to point B. You might have to do a little setup of some type, and then you sit around and wait for the show to get over. While the show's doing it, well, you get in the pickup and go drive around, do whatever you want to go do. And 2 to 3 days later, when it's all over with, you come back and you take the stage all down, or the display. You take the display down. The way it sounded to me is this trailer is going to be a trailer like the side lifts up, a big awning. The whole side of it opens up and becomes an awning. And you have to set that kind of stuff up. And then after that, you just leave it to whoever is there to mind the store, the salespeople, the sales rep, what do they call the ladies that like at a car show and they stand there and this is the new Pontiac. Booth babes, yeah, stuff like that. It might.
That's what they always call them at the car show, the booth babes.
Yeah, there you go.
Walk around bikinis or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. So, but I don't know. I mean, the one I was going to go on was that farm show stuff, and that was going to go around to different farm shows around the Midwest and up into Canada. I looked up some of the show circuit stuff, and it was all going to be like Iowa, Nebraska, Iowa, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky has a big show. Down in Georgia, somewhere southern Georgia, there's one down there in Central Florida by Orlando area, has a show down there. And then Canada has a couple up there in the Midwest of Canada. There was nothing out west. The farthest west one was Amarillo, Texas. So, man, I was like, great. It's all Midwest stuff. And most of those aren't going to major cities. It's all in smaller towns out in the country, So I thought, man, that was going to be. I was stoked for that tour. And it kind of got somewhat canceled, So I was kind of, when he told me, I'm like, oh man, that sucks. So anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah. The intriguing thing about those kind of shows and stuff, though, is like I said, it's daily rate. So I mean, a lot of it is sitting around.
Yep. Yeah, you get paid if you're on the tour. You get paid a daily rate. Whether you're driving or whether you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, you get paid the same each day.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I liked about the show spring, because you're on a 4-month show.
Yeah.
You can basically build your budget at the beginning because you know what you're going to get every day. It never changes,
Yeah. Yep. So, well, anyway, I've gone on for almost 2 hours here on my live stream, so I think I'm going to cut off and go actually do some work on my bus and do all that kind of stuff. So we'll.
Catching up. Okay, we gotta do this more often.
Yeah.
I'm always, I never know when to call anybody. You know how it is in trucking. We run such crazy schedules. You never know when people are up. So I'm always kind of reluctant to just ring somebody up and be like, "Hey, what's going?"
Yeah. What's the worst they can do? Is like they don't answer, or they answer and says, "Hey, I can't talk right now." You call back, 2 hours later. Yeah, don't. If you ever want to call, just give me a shout. I just don't call at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually about when I start. Honestly,
Yeah.
about 3 in the morning. But I run all the way into the evening those days.
Yeah.
Doing this local stuff, it's all long days because we're doing a drop and pickup every day.
So, all right. Well, be good, I guess, and Glad you got your truck back up and running and working and.
Yeah, for the most part, like I said, it's not doing good on fuel at the moment. Those injectors being faulty, you know, so it's not running as efficiently as you should.
Right. Yeah.
But
so.
it's not D-rating anymore.
There you go. Yep. Yep. So, all right. Well, y'all be good, and we'll holler at you down the road somewhere. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Nice catching up, and have fun with the bus there. I'm sure you'll enjoy it once it's done.
Oh yeah. I hope so. Hope so. That's the idea anyway. It's the plan.
All righty.
All right.
Well, have a good one.
Take care. Be good. Bye bye.
You too.
Now, before I forget, put this in my contacts so I don't lose this number again. There we go. He's in there now. He was in there before. I just somehow it didn't save it somehow or another. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Problem with electric cars or battery. Okay, y'all been talking amongst yourself about stuff here apparently. What voltage will your solar system be? That's yet to be determined. I've been I sent an email to Tom Hobotech yesterday and asked him about what I should do and all the, and he sent me an email back last night, this morning, whatever. And but basically, I think what I'm going to do is just the panels that are on the van right now, just that whole system, I'm going to transfer that system over to the bus and pretty much be done with it. Actually, I'm going to add 2 more panels. So there's 4 panels, 4 210 watt panels, which is 840 watts on the van. I'm going to add 2 more to that, so it's going to be 1260. Put 1260 on the front of the bus up here, okay? And run the cables all the way to the back, because the batteries and all that charge controller will all be at the very back of the bus back here, okay? And then run that charge controller and the Battleborn batteries and the whole, everything just as is. Just add 2 more panels. Then in January, when I head out to Arizona, I'm going to stop by this place called Santan Solar. It's somewhere in the Phoenix area. Stop by there and see what kind of solar panels. What they do is they get a bunch of old solar panels from these big solar arrays, for making electricity for the grid. They have to change those panels out every so often, and I don't know why or whenever, but anyway, they get used panels. They got some new ones and they got some used ones. Well, they got some new ones that are about half the price of what I've been paying for these ones on the van, but they're big residential panels, huge residential panels. So anyway, I'm going to take those panels, I'm going to buy some more panels and put them on the back of the bus. That's why I'm going to put a rail from the front to the back. So I'll have 1200 watts up front and have about 1600 watts in the back-ish, somewhere around in there. And all together, that way, one system can run all your day-to-day whatevers, and then the other system can run your air conditioning. So I'll be able to run nonstop air conditioning. But I don't want to drive all the way to Phoenix to get those panels. I don't want to pay the shipping to ship them all the way here. I'll just wait until I get to Quartzsite or Arizona, and I'll stop by and pick those up. The rack will all be up there ready to go. All I have to do is, drop them in, plug them in, and be done. So I'll have everything already set up. And at that point, I'll be changing my battery bank into a much, much larger battery bank. But I don't want to buy those batteries until I'm sure I can sell the Battleborns to somebody out at Quartzsite. I'll go out there and sell those Battleborns, and then at the same time, I'll order the bigger batteries and put them in. And it'll be a much more robust system, a very, very big system. So that's kind of the idea on all that. So that way I'll never have to worry about electricity. I'll have more than enough. Even if we go someplace, it rains for a week, I'll still have plenty of solar or battery capacity. Won't be able to run the air conditioner, but but if it's cloudy, it's probably going to be cool anyway. So get the idea. Go to Seattle or something like that. It's up in the rain, up in the rainforest or something. It didn't light. Oh, I know. Too many ashes in the way. There we go. So with that, folks, almost 2 hours here. I get about 4 more minutes of the hit 2 hour mark, and then I'll shut her down and then get to work. I actually go up there, get up there and start sweating. So it's already, the wind's out of a different direction today, so I'm not getting a lot of breeze through here. So it's not really, not real cool. So I'll probably sweat my butt off here shortly. But I'll get those. A main thing I want to do is get those rods, get those up there, get them lined up where I want to put them, and get bolts or holes drilled to put the bolts in and seal them up. And that way the mounting bolts will be in there ready to go. One more thing I can get done, and then right before I leave, I'll go ahead and put those other panels in the windows and seal them all up and brace them for the night. And then tomorrow I come out, the windows will be completely done. I can probably at that point drive the bus home, get it weighed at the truck stops, weigh it, and then go home and power wash the roof, and then come out here the next day or whatever and coat the roof with that reflective paint. So that's the idea. That's what next couple days I'm going to be doing, is a lot of roof work. So with that, I guess let's go ahead and hit the 120 minute mark. I'm at 117 now. Might as well hit 2 minutes or 2 hours. So with that, let's see. Scroll up through here real quick. 68% humidity in Tennessee. It's pretty humid today. It's pretty sticky today. So I don't know what the numbers are, but it's probably 50, 60% here. So I'm not on the tractor tour. That didn't get totally canceled, but my part of it got canceled. So bummer, huh? Yeah, I was all stoked for that one because it was going to be fun. I think going to the farm shows. I thought that would be interesting. YouTube stuff for you guys. The whole thing I thought was going to be fun and interesting, and it just kind of fell through. So I guess I have a feeling that's kind of one of the things that happens with this company. The customer will come in and they say, hey, we want to do this. He'll start looking for drivers, and then the customer changes it. Okay, now I don't need you anymore. That kind of stuff. Well, okay, what's the next tour you got? And then 2 weeks later or a month later, he comes up with another tour. Hey, you want to do this one instead? Oh yeah, sure, I can do that. So, and the thing is, I don't want to work 12 months out of the year. So if they have a tour that we're going to put this tour on in, April 1st. Okay, we're going to do this tour. Okay, well, that gets closer to April 1st. They say, okay, we're not going to do that tour. Okay, 2-3 weeks later, they come up with a different tour. So, oh, what about this one? Oh, okay, I'll do that one instead. So it's, June. I start the tour in June and run it, through the summer or something like that. So yeah, it's hopefully it won't be too much chaos like that. But yeah, it was just when he talked to me last week, he told me, yeah, the customer canceled that part of the tour. I'm like, oh man, shit. It's like I was all pumped up, ready to go on it, and it fell through. So, oh well, it is what it is. So, as of right now, work on the bus until the 20th. On the 20th, leave and head to Wisconsin. So, that's what I've got going on now. So with that, I better get to work. We hit the 120 minutes, 12 seconds. So, I'm just sitting here sweating because there's no breeze coming through here. So I'd imagine I'm going to be wringing wet by the time I get done on the roof. So y'all be good. We'll see you mañana. Take care. Bye-bye.